कौन हो तुम? रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप होते हैं.
Okay, we are live.
ओके, बाप्स ऑफ क्रिप्टो पॉडकास्ट नंबर 5 आप सभी का स्वागत है मित्रों.
क्या है आज?
1.1 बिलियन इन लॉन्ग्स लिक्विडेटेड टिल नाउ. इंडिया वांट्स टू नो कैसे हुआ ये, कैसे
रोज की
हुआ ये.
कहानी.
गुरुजी आज टोपी पहन के आए हैं. आज हमें टोपी पहनाइए, बताइए कि क्यों हुआ ये.
तो क्या हुआ ना, प्राइस नीचे गया एंड पीपल लॉन्ग तो हो गए लिक्विडेट. फिर प्राइस ऊपर गया, पीपल शॉर्ट हो गए वापस लिक्विडेट.
नाइस.
तो
What an analysis, Sanji.
झुनझुन वाला.
ऐसा
He is the Junjun wala of crypto in our podcast. Okay.
Of course.
चलो भाई, सीटी पे क्या देखा आज तुम लोगों ने, ये बताओ. मैंने तो एक चीज देखी कि माइकल बरी आया और उसने बोला कि बबल है सब. I don't know.
Of course.
I don't know if you saw
वो
this,
of
but
course
let
वो
me-
one hit wonder है वो.
He shared like a, क्या बोलते हैं, he shared this. Sometimes we see, दिख रहा है तुमको?
Nope.
Yes.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh.
हाँ, अभी आया. Technology
Sometimes
glitch.
we see bubbles. Sometimes there is something to do about it. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play. Do you think
Yeah.
he's right?
But he's, I think, talking from a equity standpoint. वो S&P को देख के बोल रहा है. That's his area of expertise.
Yeah, that is true.
Wall Street is his area of
Cat
expertise.
heard already months back.
But
Yeah.
if we
Yeah,
say
dude,
that,
I think he was last time he was, I think, short was 2023 also. Just by the way.
but if we say that the market is like mimicking sort of equity market, or are you guys saying that वो हो जाएगा, अलग-अलग हो जाएगा? कि
अलग-अलग नहीं. I mean, that's I think a broader discussion, but there is just because the S&P is overheated does not mean that there is overheating across the board. The S&P, like we I think discussed a couple of days back, is that it's probably in a topping out phase, and tops are probably created over a course of time. I don't think even he is in a position to say that this is the top, because even if you look at the Big Short, he was, even in the movie Big Short, he was short for I think a year and a half before
Year and a
things
half,
Yeah, he
unfolded.
kept shorting. He kept shorting. Yes.
Yeah, so I think nobody can time it that way. His thesis is correct that things are definitely stretched in the S&P. I think we've discussed this as
Yes.
well, that
It's very
most of
bubbly
it
right
is,
now.
it's an AI-driven rally. Without AI, 90% of American GDP growth is not there. So all of those things are very, I think from that standpoint, we are in consensus with what he's saying, but does not mean that if he is putting across a message, it needs to happen now. Because if you remember, I think it was 2023 is when he was calling for a civil unrest in America.
Yes.
He sold off his entire equity portfolio and bought, so prisons in America are privatized, right?
Yes.
He bought a prison company stock.
Prison
And-
and कोई water वाला कुछ भी खरीदा था उसने कि
Something
पानी-
like that, right? Yeah. And what happened to that? I mean, like, so that's history. I mean, I think I nobody even knows whether he flipped bullish after that or not. So he's been bearish since then, but yeah, I think his overall thesis is correct. Yeah, it is overheated in the S&P, not everywhere else.
But knowing America, like prison वाला तो उसका profit में ही होगा कि इतने लोग जा रहे होंगे prison.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody. He didn't tweet about his portfolio after that
You
ever.
go to jail.
हाँ, जितने लोग वो तो पता नहीं, आई डोंट नो कि असली में होता भी नहीं है कि, पर मूवीज में तो ये दिखाते हैं कि जज वज भी सेट कर लेते हैं कि प्राइवेट प्रिजन वाले कि ज्यादा लोगों को भेजना हमारे प्रिजन, और फिर अंदर
Yeah.
उनसे कुछ फैक्ट्री डलवा लेते हैं वो कि ना सस्ते में चीज बना रहे हो और लोग बड़ी कंपनीज फिर बाहर बेच रही है. तो हम कैसे ये सब भी हो ही रहा होगा.
Could be.
या ठीक है भाई, क्या कुछ नया देखा तुम लोग ने सीटी पे, कुछ ऐसा वर्थ मेंशनिंग, एनीथिंग न्यू दैट इज हैपनिंग?
मैं तो देखा कि a couple of influencers finally have just given up. वो बोला उन्होंने कि
Yeah.
we are out of the market. I'm quitting crypto.
Yes.
कि हो गया भाई.
This is too much manipulation to handle.
Yeah,
There is
exactly.
capitulation
The-
across the board.
Cap-
Well,
capitulation.
like we were talking yesterday, that CT is mostly now even who were perma bulls have turned into bears, and they are all saying कि भाई अब market खत्म है, नीचे जाने वाली है.
Correct. Some of
Everything's just
our
gonna go away.
some of our closest contacts who are probably large KOLs in CT are capitulating now. So so it's
Yeah,
happening.
exactly.
Capitulation is happening across the board.
Actually, my feed is 50-50.
भाई वो
कि अब
एक साल से हो रहा है
लोग-
कैपिटल.
Which is the other 50? Who in your feed is still bullish?
बहुत सारे लोग हैं. They're all now posting the liquidation heat map की 128k पे 20 बिलियन है लॉन्ग्स में, शॉर्ट्स में. ये उड़ने वाला है, ये उड़ने वाला है. Like continuously I keep getting that. So there is like जैसे ऐश क्रिप्टो टाइप के लोग नहीं है, तो ही इज लाइक कि ओ मैं तो गया कि हमको चाहिए था कि रेट कट हो जाए, क्यूटी एंड हो जाए, ये सब हो जाए,
सब आ गया.
तब हाँ सब आ गया, तब भी मार्केट गिर रही है. तो
Oh,
उसके टाइप के बहुत सारे वो.
By the way, James Wynn is an XRP maxi now.
ओह या
Sure.
Of course.
गुड लक टू एक्सआरपी.
Of course.
यानी कभी नहीं
Enjoy your
Yeah.
paid groups, $100.
I think it's time, Tony, you get out of XRP because
Most of these,
It's the
most of these
future,
KOLs
bro.
are
It's
also
the future.
most of these KOLs are also exit liquidity, much like normies. They
yeah.
have no idea what they're talking about.
James
They'll be
Wynn
my
is
exit liquidity.
James Wynn is Khan if he made a lot of money in Pepe. तो हाँ भाई, आज के थोड़े स्पेशल डिस्कशन के लिए आज नरकुंडी मेरे पास आया, बोला कि यार तुम कुछ एजुकेशनल नहीं कर रहे हो और यस
For the
और
greater
किसी को
good.
कुछ हाँ फॉर द ग्रेटर गुड किसी को कुछ सिखा नहीं रहे हो. और
Master
उसने बोला
जी.
कि मेरी अंदर से ऐसे मुझे आवाज आई है कि मैं इथेरियम L2s पे बात करूं आज. तो मैंने कहा कि
Oh,
ठीक है,
let's do it.
let's talk about ETH L2s and starting with Narkundi, bro. Go ahead.
Guys, ETH L2, who's bullish on it? Yes,
पहले
no.
तो ये
Nobody.
That
ये
is your
बता-
educational question.
Nobody.
पहले तो ये
Let's
बता
take
दे.
opinion polls पहले.
Not me anymore, because ETH today is cheaper than all L2s and ETH is faster than all
Exactly.
L2s. The only thing missing
Yeah.
from ETH is zero knowledge. I think we'll get ZK in a couple of quarters as well. All L2s will become redundant. That's my point of view.
So DeFi Llama has a
म्यूट है भाई, तू म्यूट है.
नरकुंडी भाई.
अरे यार, ये fat fingers यार.
technology. Am I here audible?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
You are audible.
Best. Yeah, Bluetooth technology and it presents a unique opportunity for us to get in.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Let's tokenize it.
Yeah, need to take it on chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
10 seconds, finally. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, anyways. Okay, so DeFi Llama पे एक chart था talking about ETH versus other L2s in chain. Now, starting में like 2021 के आसपास, like ETH was obviously fully dominant. फिर L2s धीरे धीरे आना start हुए. IMX आया, in gaming space. दूसरे भी आया, Arbitrum and all. But now ETH का again market share, so bottom for ETH versus other L2s was like close to 60%. Now again with all these updates that Ritvik is talking about, like again update, ETH ka share is now coming back to 78%. So it's climbing. So transaction fees, gas costs is sab kam ho rahi hai. But I think L2s ka niche focus hone lagega again. So IMX you spoke about for gaming perspective. Base pay, it's becoming more of a meme play because Base, they want to connect it to Coinbase. So if you have Coinbase account, you can get any of the tokens that are listed on Base, and they have the Zora app, which they're going for meme plays. So just deploy out there and then make it easy for retail audience to buy out there. I think they could be, and agar Base ka agar airdrop aate, obviously that's going to bring in way more transactions right now.
तो तू क्या बोल रहा है कि अगर बेस पे तेरे पास कॉइनबेस अकाउंट है तो बेस पे कोई सा भी टोकन लॉन्च हो वो खरीद सकते हैं. सो कॉइनबेस
They are bringing
I
that.
don't think
Yes.
so.
They're bringing it yet.
Bringing it.
Hmm.
Because I was pretty sure it's like almost impossible to list on Coinbase right now unless you're like proper US and बहुत ज़्यादा
And even after, bro, I don't think they will bring this sort of feature. If your token is live on Base, it will be available on Coinbase. It makes no sense. Coinbase is a very heavily regulated exchange. Any token that needs to get listed on Coinbase will have to go through, multiple hoops and loops. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि anybody can just create a token on Base and then get themselves listed on Coinbase. इतना आसान नहीं है.
तो मुझे लगा कि L2's के डिस्कशन में पहले अपन लोगों को बताएंगे कि लेयर 1 और लेयर 2 में डिफरेंस क्या होता है.
Exactly. मेरा भी यही था कि if it's an educational point in our class, we should explain what is the difference between L1 and L2 and why L2's were the hype and not anymore.
So I think we should go to Master G and Master G can tell us कि L1 और L2 में क्या डिफरेंस होता है.
So the simplest way to look at this is
before Master G goes into the technical understanding, I will give you the I give the
Okay,
रास्ते वाला understanding. रास्ते वाले तो देखो शॉर्ट में. अच्छा तू मुंबई के ट्रैफिक में अटका है. अच्छा तेरे पास 3-4 रोड ही है. अच्छा वहां से तेरे को जाना है ऑल ट्रैफिक. अभी क्या हो गया, ऊपर से किसने बनाया ब्रिज कि पॉइंट ए से पॉइंट बी जाओ शॉर्टकट पे, डोंट नीड टू गो फ्रॉम द सिग्नल्स एंड यू पे टोल फॉर दैट शिट. तो मेनली L2s do that. Either transactions का तेरा जो scalability है makes it easier by doing side chains and by like creating bridges, technical bridges, like where you can move transactions sort of like across what do you call without actually going within the line of transactions that happen on Ethereum. This is a very basic my understanding. I may be completely wrong. I can see what do you call Master G's face is a little shocked by my explanation. But I said I
will do this. I will use your example to explain my point. Exactly your example. So you are pretty much correct. You're pretty much correct.
He's partly right. Like he's talking about side chains and stuff. He's partly right.
So let me put it across this way. So
continue the analogy of the highway.
Yeah, I'll build upon the same analogy, right? So for example, you said that in the blockchain, what effectively happens is every transaction that needs to become successful has to be validated. यार ये transaction सही है, right? So just to basically build upon Guruji's analogy of toll, right? So for example, there are 10 cars waiting in line to pay the toll, because the toll will essentially verify that they've traveled from point A to point B, because the toll gate is at the end of the highway. Right, so that is the proof, and there is no exit from the highway, right? So there is no way somebody can come onto the highway. There is no way somebody can exit onto the highway, exit from the highway. Point A to point B can only be traversed from one particular highway, and the toll gate is effectively proof when it stamps and takes money from you, saying that chalo, you have traveled on this highway. Now, if somebody asks you, what is your proof that you took this highway to reach from point A to point B? The toll ticket is your proof. Now let's assume that there's only one toll gate, right? And let's assume that there are 20 cars in line, right? Now the 21st car will come and say, I don't want to wait for these 20 cars to finish, right? I know that I've traveled this highway, right? So this is an example of an optimistic rollup, which is what an arbitrum is. There are different kinds of L2s, but I take this sort of I take the optimistic rollup to sort of explain what an L2 does, because it's the most approachable architecture of an L2 right now. So what this 21st car will come and say is, okay, you know what? I know I've traveled this highway. The toll guy knows I've traveled this highway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find an agent who is standing in that line, and I'm going to tell him that, ये लो यार, मैंने ये रास्ता ट्रैवर्स कर लिया है, मैं ये 20 गाड़ियों के लिए वेट नहीं करूंगा. जब मेरा नंबर आएगा तुम टोल वाले बंदे को पकड़ा देना कि मैंने ट्रैवल किया है, मैं तुमसे एक दूसरी टिकट ले रहा हूं, तुम मेरी टिकट रख लो. तुम्हारा टिकट ये सिग्निफाई करता है कि हाँ मैंने यहाँ से टोल चेक पोस्ट क्रॉस किया है. यू हैव वैलिडेटेड दिस, बट जो मेरा एक्चुअल टिकट है वो तुम उसी टोल वाले बंदे से वैलिडेट करवा लेना जब ये बाकी 20 गाड़ियां खत्म हो जाएगी. मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है 20 गाड़ियों का वेट करने का. So that guy basically exits the toll, right? And checks out faster than the other 20 people have. Now what's happening is, in this case, what happened was the final toll validation happened at the main toll gate only, which is the base layer, because L2s are essentially built up on Ethereum, right? So eventually all blocks are completed on these L2s and posted on Ethereum. So Ethereum is the main security layer. It's the main consensus layer. But what is happening with these other L2s are, they are essentially folks of Ethereum, and they've essentially said that you don't have to wait so long on Ethereum to complete your transaction. And because when transaction times are high, at times what happens is the cost of transaction also goes up. So if, for example, if there are 20 people in line and the person who is at the 20th position, टोल गेट ने मान लो अगर एक और मैकेनिज्म चालू कर दिया कि ओके जो बंदा सबसे पहले है मैं धीरे धीरे करके सबसे टोल कलेक्ट करता रहूंगा और तुम्हें रिसीट देता रहूंगा, बट अगर 20th वाले को सबसे पहले आना है तुम डबल टोल अगर देने के लिए तैयार हो तो मैं तुम्हें सामने दे दूंगा, okay, I'll let you come in front. Now the person who's 21st does not want to pay that double fee. He's like कोई बात नहीं, मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन 1 घंटे बाद भी अप्रूव हो जाए कोई चलेगा नहीं, तुम मेरे को टोल देके दे दो, एटलीस्ट मैं किसी और को दिखा पाऊं कि मैंने ये जर्नी पूरी कर ली. So that's essentially what L2s do. L2s essentially help you transact faster. So it obviously helps you build more complex applications in which faster sets of calculations are required. So if there are 10 calculations going into one transaction, it lets you do all of that faster. So much more complex applications can be created. They have their own consensus there because they complete blocks, and those blocks are essentially posted onto Ethereum as well. So you're effectively you're being secured by a twin consensus mechanism, but that consensus mechanism is obviously a different consensus mechanism than Ethereum. Ethereum today is the most decentralized and the most sort of battle-tested consensus layer, decentralized consensus layer, which is out there. So you're compromising on that, but what you're getting is cheaper transaction costs, and you're getting faster transaction speeds. But what we saw with the horde of Ethereum upgrades that we've seen so far, like the Pectra upgrade, and I think the Fusaka upgrade is also coming up next month or something like that.
Yeah.
So with all of these, पहले क्या था, हर एक L2 की एक कहानी थी अपनी. जैसे for example, optimistic rollups की एक कहानी थी. Optimistic rollup is essentially trusting that what you are saying is correct, right? So it is being optimistic about what you are saying. हाँ, कल को अगर जैसे वो जो 21st बंदे ने जो टोल टिकट दिया बोला मैंने ट्रैवर्स किया है, कल को अगर किसी को पता लगा कि उसने किसी कैमरा फीड से जाके देखा कि तुमने एक्चुअली ट्रैवर्स नहीं किया, तुम बीच में से घुसे थे सड़क के बीच में. So what he can do is within a certain time period, within an 8-hour time period, he can actually reverse your transaction. वो आके बोल सकता है चलो बेटा वापस आओ, वो तुम्हें ढूंढ के वापस ला सकता है, बोलो दोबारा रास्ता को ट्रैवर्स करो, right? So what essentially does it, every L2 had its own story. So earlier it had faster transaction speeds, it had lower gas costs. Then like Adil mentioned, some L2s were built for gaming because gaming required certain block spaces and certain block times. So uske hisab se L2s bane. But now I think with all of these upgrades that we've seen with Ethereum, we've now reached wallet abstraction. We've reached I think if somebody's transacted on chain recently, the gas costs are pretty very low.
Absolutely low, bro.
They're probably not as low as certain L2s, but they're getting there. You can literally see like from what we've paid earlier to what we are paying right now. So it's probably a 90% decrease in gas costs that we're seeing right now.
Not just that, because even if you're using an L2 and you're actually on an ETH, you have to bridge it to the L2 and then sort of,
all of that crap is there, right?
All of that crap adds up. So there's no point in doing that anymore.
Basically,
whereas
it doesn't.
Previously, a $5,000 transfer on ETH would cost you maybe $150 just in gas. आज वो जो है वो 0.0102 cents पे पड़ता है, तो it's really
exactly down. It's maybe during peak traffic you're probably paying 50 cents, but that's at most to what I sort of paid. So things have become very, very optimized at the base consensus layer, and that's something that the Ethereum Foundation always acknowledged, that most of the L2s right now are serving a stopgap arrangement because the Ethereum roadmap has been very, very open and transparent from a very, very long time. So everybody is known, like most of the L2s which have got their ideas, especially when it comes to ZKs, when it comes to wallet abstraction, they've always known that Ethereum is going to work on all of this, but people came and delivered that faster and they thought of capturing some market share. But eventually what Adil just quoted, everything is flowing back to the alt king, which is, I called it like BTC is the king. I think ETH is the king of execution, right? So everything is flowing back to the king right now, and despite everything flowing back to the king, transaction volumes rising, you're still seeing gas costs to be abysmally low. So I think they've done what they had to do. ZKs are the only thing which is pending right now, which is something that they'll also end up
it's already in place, man. They're already working on it.
ZK se hota kya?
And ZK is zero knowledge. So essentially, let's say you are taking a long position on a particular token on chain, and you're taking a very large long position, right? you don't want the market to know that you've taken a long position so that somebody can come and take a short position against you, right? Or probably move the market against you. So what essentially happens is when the validators are sort of completing the blocks, they're getting all the information in bits and pieces. So they don't exactly know what the transaction is about, but they know it's a transaction that needs to be completed. So you're effectively executing transactions which are highly anyway all blockchain transactions are encrypted, but here you don't know what you're essentially solving, right? So that is the entire thing about ZK. So it builds privacy of transactions. But the way I see it, the Ethereum Foundation today is so aligned with global markets and with Wall Street. They are essentially building what large users of Ethereum are demanding. And they figured out that whatever they've delivered so far is something that normal sort of users like us have demanded so far, and they've delivered on that. Now they're building for what the other institutions are asking for. So they'll keep on, if they ask for zero knowledge tomorrow, they'll give zero knowledge tomorrow. So I don't think they have an issue with that.
Yes. तो इन गुरुजी's analogy कि हाईवे कंजस्टेड था पर उन्होंने लेन बढ़ा ली और ज्यादा टोल गेट लगा लिए खुद ही, तो आपको लेयर 2 की जरूरत ही नहीं है.
अभी टोल की जरूरत नहीं है, अभी ब्रिज की जरूरत
अब जरूरत ही नहीं है किसी और
करेक्ट. हाँ, वही ज्यादा टोल लग गए तो एक गाड़ी को रुकना ही नहीं पड़ रहा इतना. करेक्ट.
पहले 2 लेन था, अभी 8 लेन हो गया, अभी हाईवे आ गया,
8 लेन हो गया. एग्जैक्टली. करेक्ट.
सीलिंग बना ली, तेरी सीलिंग बना ली, वो नया एक्सटेंशन कर लिया सीलिंग का.
दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई सेड. जो ऋतिक ने बोला है, मैंने एग्जैक्टली सेम चीज एक्सप्लेन किया था.
सेम. यस,
बिल्कुल.
एग्जैक्टली.
गुरुजी इज नॉट हैप्पी.
गुरुजी दूसरी एनालॉजी दे दो. ठीक है, ये एनालॉजी पे काम नहीं करेंगे, दूसरी दे दो. चलो कुछ और बता दे. चल
तो देख, ETH L2 also.
Actually, tell us one more thing. Rather than that, tell us what is one L2 that you have been very supportive of, like you think that it's going to be the king of L2s.
See, if you ask me about projects and development in crypto, okay, my only incentive is I don't care about it. I just care about whether the token goes up or down, right? So I am more concerned about the market maker behind the L2 versus the L2 itself, because at the end ये लोग सब वही बेच रहे हैं जो मतलब already is already doing for you. Now what will actually run the project is my market maker कौन है. So if you really want to figure out how to see what L2 to back is, figure out who the market maker is, see what he pumped initially earlier, how the charts were looking, and then take a gamble on that. Because the thing is, the use case of any of these L2s, leaving probably Ethereum, of actually transactions running through it, is probably 90% to 90% botted out. So there's no real users over there.
100%.
It's pure.
Correct.
So whether it is having large transaction, million transaction, oh bhai, do bot बैठ के बना रहे transaction. I just have to know the market maker, how is he moving the what you call token. So you have to mainly focus on the market maker of the projects. So it's great to understand what L2s do, but the end use case in the real world is still a far cry from what it should be. So I'm happy that Ethereum made 8 lanes, but I still back L2s which have good market makers.
So who has good market makers?
There is one more thing. So I think
I don't know, आर्बिट्रम वाले मार्केट मेकर रखते हैं क्या?
कौन?
आर्बिट्रम वाले मार्केट मेकर रखते हैं क्या? I don't think so.
रखते हैं, of course.
They are all having market makers.
होएगा, सबके पास है.
So every ETH L2 is pretty much linked to what you call Ethereum ka chart, alright? Only with a little more what you call volatility. But if ETH goes up, L2 goes up. ETH goes down, L2s go down further. So it's like sort of taking a leverage play. Like even right now when the market is bearish, throughout you will see that whether it's ARB, it's Athena, or it's any of these ETH L2 which are out there. Athena of course L2 nahi hai, but anything which is like running on Ethereum as hype is running the same chart only with little more aggression on either direction. So if you don't want to take leverage position, but you want to get exposure of leverage gains, buy an ETH L2 instead of buying Ethereum.
Yeah,
this is not financial advice, please.
Yeah, not financial advice. And just on a lighter note, it's leveraged on the downside also. When ETH falls, these leverage plays fall by 50%.
आर्बिट्रम का all time low was 40 cents. अभी जो market crash करी, it went to 10 cents.
10 cents.
And no one could have ever thought.
Ethena went to 15 cents from like I think $1.20 or something. Like 80 top था उसका. It like 15 cents for like a
80-90%
second.
trash.
And then
Last
again,
90 days, ETH is
Gala
up
went down
10%.
98%. Gala was at like 17, 18%,
Gala is the future,
and it went down to 0.004, I think.
भाई गाला इज द फ्यूचर. पिक्चर बनाई उन्होंने साईफाई अपनी चेन पे डाली.
Bro, God, they're releasing
इतना
new
काम
stuff on
किया.
their chain, bro. Yeah, they're actually building.
कि music they're getting people to like release new music and movies and like क्या नहीं कर रहे वो. Last I heard कि they were building something for like Cannes festival or something. Like it's insane.
अच्छी बात है ना.
हाँ कोई
What?
प्रोडक्ट.
उन्नति
एक चीज
हो रही
है.
है.
नेक्स्ट कल के पॉडकास्ट के लिए one more thing that we need to do. अगर हमने एजुकेशन वाला पार्ट रखना है तो let's talk about market makers. We've said market makers a lot, but I think most of the people don't understand what market makers are or what they do in reality.
And how they affect. And how they affect sort of like these.
How they affect the market, yes.
They affect like all of the market, like basically.
Yeah.
पूरी की पूरी market चलाना गिराना ये सब, and they're not just like limited to sort of this industry, right? Market makers have been in the equity market for like a long time.
Yeah, market makers exist in equity markets also.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do one whole episode about market makers. Why not? चलो अब बताओ कि recent कोई कल हमने memes के बारे में discuss किया और कौन से memes चल रहे थे market में, कोई और नए tokens जो भाग रहे थे कल तुम लोग ने देखे हो या चल रहे हो, कोई अच्छा protocol आ रहा हो. If there's like a nice protocol that's coming up, something that's doing well.
MEGAETH.
Bro, MEGAETH raised what? कितना is
more than 1 bill.
1.5 bill, right?
1 bill already.
Yeah.
1.5
Original plan was 50 million.
Billion, yes. ICO है.
No, bro. Can't raise 1.
No, I think that's the bid. That's the bid for the FDV. That's the bid for the FDV.
Acha.
That's the bid for the FDV. Yeah.
How much have they raised like in all?
No, it's so more than 1.5 billion commits.
So people, it's commits at 1.5 bill.
Yep.
I thought
closed it yesterday at 1.5 billion.
Damn. And here we were talking about there's no money in the market, right?
That's the thing. I mean, where is all this money coming from? Yeah. But then I also saw one of those guys who basically went into bundling and bubbles and all of that. And वो बता रहे थे कि there were investors who on MEGAETH who are basically investing like 50 million, 60 million and to bundled up into like 30, 40,
there's a cap of 185K per wallet.
So you have, I think there is also 1.5 billion. Number is a huge, but I think also very bundled together. I mean, not a lot of people putting in money. There's less number of people putting in a lot of money.
Yeah, these are anyway only interests, right? By the end of the day, these are only interests because it's like a lottery system, right? The more tickets you sort of buy in, the higher chances you have of
1.5
winning the
billion
draw, so that you can invest.
10% भी तोड़ता है तो that's $150 million. It's still a lot of money.
So they have one which is locked for a year.
बोल.
January
2026 का उनका वो expected है ना TG कुछ.
Jan में, yeah. So one.
But like every other chain, again, what's the use case, right?
Yeah. Again, same thing.
Use case is
They're talking about sub-second finality times. I think finality times are great, but I think decentralized consensus, battle testedness, that's only there with one network. Otherwise, to be honest, had these things been that valuable, had these things been so valuable, established institutions would have selected them. Now what they're going to do? They'll raise all of this money. They'll pay a bunch of guys to make partnership announcements, and then they're going to showcase adoption.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, organic traction is only there on one chain.
Ethereum,
yes.
Bro, yesterday I was talking about Lab, right?
Yeah.
And last night Lab pumped. It pumped crazy. I think it did a 3x today.
Lab has a nice market maker.
Yeah, bro, Lab. So apparently the market maker that Lab has, this is what I've heard, is also the same market maker that was working on Injective in 2023.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yes. So so the market maker that ran injective from essentially $1.51 to $38 is the guy who's running labs right now.
One of the things with injective was कि injective also managed to generate like a lot of क्या बोलते हैं organic hype as well. Plus उस टाइम पे
Yeah,
लोगों
that's
के
true.
पास पैसा भी था. उस टाइम पे लोगों के पास पैसा भी था.
वो पिछले साइकिल से बना के they were sitting
they were
in the bear
sitting like
market waiting for the next big thing.
full
Yeah.
big thing. तो इंजेक्टिव चला दिया उन्होंने 38x. अब पता नहीं लैब कितना चलता है. सो मेगा ईथ अगर मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ अगर मेगा ईथ चलना ही होता तो सोनिक नहीं चल जाता. आंड्रे क्रोनिया फ्लाइंग टूलिप बना रहा है. एक मतलब कि सोनिक तो कहाँ गया डूड? क्या प्राइस है?
14 cents.
14
Sonic
cents?
it's like a dead chain
Wow.
now, bro. मतलब completely dead.
और इतना हाइप यानी बीच में तो आ गया तो वो लोगों को गाली वाली बकने हैं.
Bro,
नहीं
सबसे
समझते
बड़ी
हो.
गलती थी I think Sonic. If he had just stuck to FTM and continued there,
Correct.
you know, I think today FTM would have been one of the top 10 CMC tokens, but he messed it up badly.
No, so
Sonic TVL is down from 1 billion down to 200 mil right now.
क्या बात कर रहा है?
क्या
May 2025 में 1 bill था. And
so
अभी
everyone pretty much moved off Sonic
200
chain.
million खत्म.
TVL is
Wow, खत्म dude. और
20%
पता
All
drop.
the
Fish.
ये सब हुआ, all of this happened because of eggs.
they managed to generate some hype and even get some protocols, but sustain नहीं कर पाए ना. Plus उनका पूरे game अगर तुमने I don't know अगर तुम देख रहे थे, FTM had a limited sort of supply, right?
Yep.
FTM token. Sonic के साथ पूरी game थी कि उन्होंने change किया पूरा contract and made it like a mintable token, and it became like an unlimited supply. And they've been obviously
Also the market maker ना they screwed the market maker also halfway ना. They had GSR before, फिर बदली किया to Wintermute. When Wintermute came, just dumped their tokens out completely.
Or I think it was the opposite. They had Wintermute and they called in GSR, and then they went back to Wintermute.
Correct.
Yeah.
GSR
They had Wintermute पहले उनका तो टोकन प्राइस नहीं सस्टेन कर पा रहे, ये नहीं कर पा रहे. वो ऑब्वियसली वो लोग बेच रहे थे तो कैसे टोकन प्राइस सस्टेन करेंगे? आपके अनलिमिटेड सप्लाई है, आपके लोग जो है सिंगापुर जा रहे हैं, यहाँ जा रहे हैं, पूरा वो करने, ये करने.
हाँ, दबा के बेचा है. The team
और फिर
sold दबा के भाई.
उसके बाद उन्होंने वो लोग रखे वो म्यू और पता नहीं उनको कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है चेन के बारे में. म्यू जो है वो के बस अपनी फोटो डाल रही है इधर उधर की. ओहो ये
thirst trapping users.
Yes, thirst trapping users. So it's like weird, dude. हाँ.
बीच में थोड़ा सा NFT boom वो लेकर आए for a very little while.
Yes.
You know, and that also died down in like 2 weeks. It died down completely.
Guruji, how many NFTs do you own?
Now I sold them all, na, luckily.
I sold them all.
Right at the top.
Okay. Show me your wallet. I don't believe that.
I think he still has one of those derps.
Yeah, 100%, dude. He has 2-3 derps for sure.
नहीं, I sold the derps off ना like about 2 weeks ago. सब बेच दिया.
2 weeks ago, सब बेच दिया.
Yeah.
ठीक है भाई.
Yeah, but I if you see the top ना, the last transaction was mine. जो एकदम NFT बिका top पे ना, वो मेरा था वो. Best price ever.
वहां से अब लोग देखेंगे वीडियो जाके तेरा वॉलेट ट्रैक करेंगे, फिर वो वॉलेट का याद रख लेंगे वो. और फिर ये देख क्रिप्टो डैडीज गोइंग टू डू दैट. ठीक है. और किसी को एनी लास्ट वर्ड्स, एनीथिंग यू गाइस वांट टू से, और शुड वी एंड राइट नाउ?
What do you think? Where is the market headed? One last time.
मैं तो बता रहा हूँ कि मार्केट अरे यार मेरे को तू बीटीसी
मुझे लग रहा है मुझे लग रहा है करेक्शन अभी भी कंटिन्यू कर रही है. BTC is not showing strength. It's still at 109. It hasn't even crossed 111 after the downwards. वो आज भी बस स्लोली थोड़ा मूव कर रहा है. आज शाम को मार्केट खुलती है, पता नहीं देखते क्या होता है. इंटरेस्टिंगली आज सुबह तुम्हारा Nasdaq फ्यूचर वाज अप 300 समथिंग पॉइंट्स. सो बट आई डोंट नो अब वो मार्केट खुलने के बाद क्या हाल होता है उसका. But yeah, I think वो BTC should go to 113 and then come back down. मेरे हिसाब से तो जब तक वो सही तरह करेक्ट नहीं होगा below 100K, it will not move up properly.
तो अपना जनरल जैसे रियलिस्ट ने भी उस दिन बोला था कि बिटकॉइन डोमिनेंस will go up, right? I also believe that. And what I've been seeing is in the market is like every time BTC sort of goes up, right? The ETH also starts rallying, right?
The
And
dominance moves up. So moves down. Moves
yeah,
down.
dominance
Yeah.
starts moving down.
हाँ.
So
When
the
BTC
only
moves
way
down, the dominance goes
down,
up.
yeah, जैसे yesterday when it BTC was moving down, dominance went above 60% like यूं झट से ना. आज थोड़ा स्टेबल हुआ है और थोड़ा वापस से उसने वो किया है, तो इट इज जस्ट बिलो 60, थोड़ा नीचे आ गया है. आई एम थिंकिंग कि इफ इट हैज टू लाइक go over 60% and stay there for a while, it will move down. And every time there has been a BTC has touched a new high, once it has crossed its previous all-time high, right? The first time it crossed sort of 69k, it went to 74k, and then it crashed to like 49k. I don't know exactly percentages में वो कितना है, पर वो 26 से 30% के आसपास का गणित होगा. वो 30 एक परसेंट के आसपास
30% होता है. 28 to 38% का होता है.
28-30% होता है वो. ठीक है. फिर वहां 49k से the next move it made to was 110k, right? After that, जैसे ही 110k किया, over a period of 2-3 months, it came down to 74k, right? Then again, the next leg up, which it went to was 125k. If you see the 28-30% move from that point comes to around like tera 100 and tera 96, 94, 96k, which is I'm guessing, which is just right below its 50-week moving average. I'm guessing कि वहां तक जाके it will resume. The second time, ETH also crashed like majorly, right? And then ETH came back to its previous all-time high. This time, alts have crashed. So this time, when BTC moves up, I'm pretty sure that ETH will move up, going to a new all-time high. उसके once BTC has made its move, फिर ETH जाएगा, फिर तेरे alts मेरे हिसाब से उसके बाद alts का नंबर आएगा. So that is my analysis. I may be entirely wrong because this market humbles everyone, and but don't take it as financial advice. But ये मेरी broader understanding है अभी market.
मेरा जो टारगेट जो मुझे लगता है, BTC should touch 91k before it moves up. And I may be extra bearish right now, and these are numbers that people don't want to consider, but that's what the charts tell me, at least.
Got it. Based on तेरा जो Fibonacci वाला reading है.
Fibonacci, and if you look at the basic resistance, मतलब तू अगर day chart खोलेगा, and you look at the trend, you'll see, we went just like what you said. So we went to, I think, so we went to like 73 in March of 24, and by August 2024 we were at 49k. Right, 5th August we hit the absolute bottom of 49k, and then we moved back up in December all the way to about 107, right, and we came back down to 74k. Those are the trend, and these are they basically are touching the trend line and then moving back up, right? Every time they touch that trend line and they move further high. And if you look at the chart right now, it's moving exactly like that, how it did in between March to, let's say, July. Well, बिल्कुल sideways movement and then tuck करके नीचे गया and then it went back up. And then if you look at from August से जो December से, let's say, March वाला move था, if you look at that, that also was like थोड़ा सा यूं constantly चला, फिर एकदम नीचे आके वापस ऊपर भागा March के बाद. And then if you look at the chart right now, it's again the same, वो sideways plateau इस तरह चला रहा है. And then जो मुझे लग रहा है, the way I see it, should ideally touch 91k and then sort of move back up. It could go back up from maybe 94-95k, because when last time when we were doing 49k, उस time पे हमारी prediction 42 थी, वो 49 से वापस चला गया था. So it could probably reverse back from 98k, but the book says 91 so far.
गुरुजी,
हाँ जी,
क्या हाल है? आप तो बोल रहे हो कि मरने वाले हैं 74k या 60k.
मैं बोल रहा डाउन ट्रेंड है, and down trend will continue until the volumes dramatically increase, जो दिख नहीं each point. So there's no price for me leaving the जो trading indicators वो अलग है, but there's no price point I have in mind right now. It's a downtrend, which is an unhealthy downtrend in my head, in my read. So until that's there, just have to play safely, because if you play leverage anyway, you will die sooner or later.
Leverage वाले तो yeah.
You play
Leverage
down. Simple.
yeah.
वो भी उड़ जाएगा.
क्या बोला नरकुंडी बोला?
Again, this is not financial advice. Please do not follow.
बोला नरकुंडी बोला कि वो भी उड़ जाएगा.
अबे नरकुंडी छोड़ दे. वो you मारेगा spikes. Cleaning both up and down.
Long shot, those सब clean.
ठीक है भाई. चलो realist. देखो, I know you don't like making price predictions, so I don't want to put you on the spot. But if you want to, this is your chance. All right.
Yeah.
ठीक है. चलो भाई, like, share,
Okay.
subscribe, comment, hate, up, down, thumbs up, thumbs down, जो भी देना है.
Ring the bell icon.
Ring the bell icon. Good talk. Okay, bye.
All right.
So,
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
bye.